Good morning. I'm Emmanuel François, Sales Manager West Europe of EnOcean GmbH and also Ambassador of EnOcean Alliance. I'm very happy to be here and present this webinar, introduce this webinar concerning the capabilities of energy harvesting as key ingredient for sustainable smart homes and smart buildings. Next. As you know, we are entering an hyper-connected world where every citizen, every building, every mobility, every territory, equipment, and infrastructure will be connected in real time. This is a key evolution, a major evolution. This is what we call the IoT revolution. Next. And for this, there are some prerequisites. The prerequisite of IoT revolution. First is flexibility. Why? Because we will have flexible spaces. And for flexible spaces, you need flexible devices. And for this, you need, of course, wireless solution. Wireless becomes a must. But not only. Sustainable. It needs to be sustainable. And for sustainability, you cannot remove batteries every 2 years or 3 years, and even every 10 years. So battery-free is also a must. Therefore, energy harvesting is a key solution for this requirement. It needs also to be scalable. That means that you can adjust solution, make it scalable. And for this, the prerequisite is to have protocols with open standards and interoperable. It needs also to be easy to use. And for this, easy remote commissioning is a key solution. And why I say easy remote commissioning, it needs to be also open, not linked to any industrial, but global, universal. This is a key requirement because the IoT revolution will occur, but with a universal mindset. At last but not least, it needs to be secured. And for security, you need to have encryption, to integrate encryption and rolling code by design. I would say that the EnOcean protocol and the EnOcean company is promoting these solutions and is answering these prerequisites fully. Next. Now you will tell me, but it's nice to speak about energy harvesting and wireless solution and batteryless, but how it works? And here I would say 20 years ago, the founders of EnOcean GmbH were really visionaries because they understood that 20 years after, there will be the IoT revolution and you will need wireless protocol and you will open standards and you will need also energy harvesting batteryless solution. And they invented 3 energy harvesting solutions. One is kinetic. That means just by pushing, it's very easy. And then that means you can have a switch like this one and you light on and you light off. Another one is photovoltaic. Just using the light, you have light everywhere. And for using light, in this case, you have a capacity that store the energy. And the third one, which is also very important, is the difference of temperature, what we call thermal energy or Seebeck effect. And this enables you to have, for instance, thermal harvesting heating valve. Just here as example, with the Green Deal, the European Green Deal, we need within the next years, I would say within the next 5 years, to remove 1 billion of heating valve. Just 1 billion. And that's just for Europe. and it needs to be wireless and batteryless. You will not go in a social housing every 2 years removing the batteries of the tenants. It's not possible. It's just impossible. And that's the reason why, once again, I say EnOcean has been a visionary. Next. Now you will tell me, it's nice, but how it works? How can we get the data? But I will say first, there is a revolution, two major revolutions. The first one, you knew it. It's the wireless telephone. You all are using a wireless smartphone. But and I would say the wired telephone is quite a prehistoric device. It's becoming the same with a wired switch, which becomes a prehistoric device also, because in front of the wired switch you have a wireless and batteryless switch like this one, with hundreds of thousands capabilities. It's endless. In one case, you have a wired switch with one action, and each time you want to change the action, you need to remove the wires. It's just impossible if you want to have flexible spaces. In the other case, you have a push button which sends a data, and this data can be used in very dynamic mode for endless capabilities. This is the IoT revolution. Next. Of course, you need to collect the data. And once again, you have the choice between edge and cloud. Years ago, we were just speaking about cloud because there was no capabilities, no solution for edge solution, for local solution. But now, with solutions like Aruba, you have a digital infrastructure, which is internet infrastructure and IoT infrastructure, which collect all the data coming from the devices locally, not through the cloud, just locally. This is a key requirement for security, low carbon, sustainability. And once again, here, EnOcean is fully embedded in this solution as protocol, but also as solution with energy harvesting solution, talking the EnOcean protocol, but also other protocols. And we will talk about it later on, like Zigbee and Bluetooth. Next. Now you will tell me, but is this real? Are there solutions already in place in France, in Europe, in the world? Yes, of course. I've been within EnOcean and I'm following EnOcean almost since the beginning, since 20 years or 17 years. And there are hundreds of thousands of buildings, even millions of buildings equipped by EnOcean as technology. And here I give you few examples. One is the city of Paris, the schools of city of Paris. I spoke before, I talked about the energy harvesting heating valve, batteryless and wireless. There are 25,000 of these heating valves installed in the schools of Paris since 3 or 5 years, and it's working very well. And the city of Paris became an example for other schools in France, in other cities. Next. Another example is smart home. 5 years ago, the Bouygues group trusted us and told me, we want to make connected home. Emmanuel, can you help us? And they followed our recommendation. 5 years later, there are more than 30,000 connected homes equipped with EnOcean. This means 500,000 devices deployed everywhere in France in new buildings connected with this kind of switches. And every day you have people buying new switches by Leroy Merlin just to integrate new capabilities in their homes. And it works perfectly. Perfectly. And very reduced cost, as you can see here. With Home, that's the concept of Bouygues, cost only 590 euros more. But it integrates the application, integrates all the devices, connected devices, even the CO2 sensor, even the door contact, even the metering of the electricity. So much more than before. And it's sustainable because the switches which are installed will not remove, and they will keep like that in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, without removing batteries, because it's battery-less. And that's a key element. And that's why Bouygues trusted EnOcean. Next. And last but not least, now it's do-it-yourself. We have the major do-it-yourself player in France, Leroy Merlin. Not only in France, in Europe. It's the first one in Europe. They are not in Germany, but in most other countries. It's #1 in France, #1 in Poland, #1 in Italy, #1 in Spain, #1 in Russia, #1 in Greece. And they trusted EnOcean. Why? Because they are fed up to take the batteries of these devices. And because they're obliged. And they don't want. That's not their capability. And they are understood that here there are solutions they can sell for smart home and have a global solution, which is key, and bring smart home to everybody at the European level. That's democracy. That's to how we can bring IoT revolution everywhere in every homes in Europe. Thank you. Now it's okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Alexis Polegato and I'm the CTO of NodOn. I will just stop my camera for the show. So for those of you who don't know us, NodOn is a French company specialized in smart home and smart building wireless devices. We design, engineer, and manufacture products to make your homes and buildings smarter, simply and rapidly through cutting-edge technology. We address different markets from housing to hotels and any other buildings. We offer 3 different offers. The first one, we develop off-the-shelf products with our own brand. So this range of products address B2C and B2B markets. Here we focus on low power and interoperable standards such as EnOcean and Zigbee. Our second offer is brand labeling. So we take our own products, but we customize it with your brand. And the last offer is what we call engineering partnership. We develop your products together with your ideas and our expertise. Here we can address any smart home protocol to focus on your application. At NodOn, we focus on 3 types of products for your wireless ecosystem. Actuators, such as relay switches or smart plugs. Controllers, such as wall switch, smart button, or remote controllers. And sensors, such as temperature, humidity, or door and window opening. As product manufacturers, we have worked for many smart home leaders in Europe, such as Leroy Merlin, Domi, Vibar, Schneider Electric, or even Somfy. Among the products we develop our high runners are the relay switches. So a relay switch is a device we can install behind a real switch or a plug outlet or directly inside the walls or in the ceilings. We have developed several kind of relay switches for different kind of application, such as the lighting, roller shutter, electrical heater, or for any multifunction purpose. Besides these relay switches, our intention is to simplify smart home and smart building use cases. So for that, we also focus on energy harvesting devices. So before going further, we would like to ask you, what is your favorite energy harvesting solution? So here you have, you can directly reply to this answer in your application. So here we would like to know if you already use energy harvesting solution on your devices, and if so, which one you prefer. But if you don't use any, please check the last box. That I don't know about energy harvesting. So here on the results, we have like about 50% of the people who use or who prefer kinetic energy. About 35% for photovoltaic energy, and about 10% who don't know about energy harvesting. At NodOn, we use energy harvesting solution for different kind of applications. We are focused on kinetic and photovoltaic energy. So we use photovoltaic energy for different types of sensors, such as temperature, humidity, and door opening sensor. We use kinetic energy for wall switch, remote controller, where you can create the energy with your hands, or with your feet. Indeed, last year we have developed a specific switch that you can put on the floor and easily activate with your feet to avoid everyone touch the same switch with hands in public buildings. Last but not least, we also use kinetic energy for a new window sensor. Here we get the energy directly from the window when it opens or closes. Our philosophy is to make things as simple as possible. So using EnOcean protocol, we have enabled the possibility to create simple scenarios without using any gateway. Here, for example, you can wire the roller shutter relay switch behind your wire switch, the wire switch of your roller shutter. Then you can still use this wire switch to control the shutter, but you can also extend the control with different wireless and battery-free controllers. It's really easy to install and to use. On this second example, we have wired the lighting relay switch behind the wire switch of the lights. Then we can remotely control the lights, always with batteryless controllers. In this kind of application, we can also extend the scenario by automatically turning on the lights if there's someone in the room with a motion sensor, for example. And always without needing to add a gateway to create this simple scenario. So these are some typical applications, but what about real life? We would like to share with you two of our success stories. The first one is in a high school in France. The challenge was to improve the control of roller shutters to stop losing time in closing them manually, and then to reduce heat loss and increase security in the building. The solution was to integrate our roller shutter relay switches on existing roller shutters, which can be controlled by battery-free wireless controllers. This combination of products is perfect, since it doesn't require renovation work, only to wire the module on the existing shutters, and does not require specific maintenance because of the battery-free controllers. As Emmanuel said before, you don't want to change the battery every 3 years, every 5 years, or even every 10 years. This project requires more than 600 modules and more than 150 battery-free wireless controllers and about 40 gateways. Our second example is in a senior residence in France. The goal here was to improve autonomy inside the buildings and also to be alerted in case of anomalies in the housing. For this project, we have used lighting and roller shutter relay switches, in addition of motion sensor to detect if there is anyone in specific rooms, and the door and window opening sensor to be sure the doors and the windows are closed when they need to be. And of course, with battery-free wireless switch to optimize the control. To summarize, we develop different kinds of products which can be used together to improve comfort, security, and autonomy in any type of building. For the end of the presentation, I will let Emmanuel conclude.
Thank you very much, Alexis, for this nice presentation. And we see that there are a lot of use cases, even, and I like it, even assisted living, so senior people. And of course, how can you bring solution with senior people with batteries? And what happens with the batteries failed? And if you don't want that the battery fails, then you need to remove every year the batteries to be sure that they will not fail. So it's a lot of cost and a lot of problems. And here you see it. It's very easy. And of course, it's very important. I see a lot of solution now in France, in Europe, in UK with guarantees using EnOcean for assisted living solution. And that's key. But if you go back to office building, you can see that there are a lot of applications. And today we speak about building as a service. That means how I can bring services in buildings, how I can make the building more valuable. And here, thanks this IoT, thanks EnOcean, you can bring just with one device, add one device and you add a service. And you will add a service like activity as a service for counting people, for instance, but also comfort as a service by bringing, for instance, a CO2 sensor or a temperature sensor, but also safety as a service by adding some sensors for fire detection or for intrusion or for water leakage, of also presence of fire extinguisher and also air quality. So you understand that there are a lot of solutions and all are batteryless and wireless. So secured, scalable, sustainable. That's a major revolution. And that's a revolution I invite you now to take in your portfolio. Thank you. Questions.
So if you have any question, we will start answer the questions.
We have 5 minutes. Otherwise.
So we have a question about the radio frequency used in the equipment. So EnOcean is based on 868 megahertz frequency. So this is the frequency we used on this equipment for EnOcean protocols, and for Zigbee or Bluetooth that we mentioned, they are based on a 2.4 gigahertz frequency.
And what is important, maybe that if EnOcean at the beginning choose 868, it's also to have a better range, because of course, as the shorter the range is, the longer you can, the shorter the frequency is, the longer the range is, and that's a major reason, and that's the reason why here it works very well. And of course, you can have also, it works also with 2.4 gigahertz with Zigbee and Bluetooth, but then you need to have adjust the range.
There is a question about software to configure the components. So there is some software on EnOcean side to configure and to do some settings directly on the product. So you can use software from EnOcean directly.
And now EnOcean has also developed the IoT connector, which enables to integrate all the library of the EnOcean protocol, EnOcean profile, and to translate it to IP for direct use by any application provider. So it's very easy to use, and this is a key tool for any integrator.
There is a question. So how do you use a peer sensor? How does it work at night if there is a rechargeable battery? So I think it's more for all the the solar solution, so based on photovoltaic. So on this kind of devices, there is a small kind of battery that you can charge with during day and when there is light, and then you can still have autonomy at night or when is less light. And additionally, if you need, sometimes you can add a small battery if you need more energy, but mainly it get the energy of the light during day, and then at night it's still working.
You're right. Here is a multi-sensor of EnOcean, and which is the Swiss knife of the sensor. It's batteryless, but it makes measure temperature, humidity. There is an accelerometer, so that means you know if somebody is at place. You can also have lighting, so it measures lighting and the lux, and it enables also to have a window contact with the magnet. And here, if you see, there is a slot for an additional battery, but it's not used in most of the case. In most of the case, we can say that 90% of the case, you have always spaces with lights and with sufficient light to power the devices. And just in specific case, in a cellar or what else, then you would add a battery. And Alexis was speaking a battery which load the energy. I would rather say that it is a capacitor, and which lasts much more longer than a standard battery.
Exactly, yes. I have a question about this energy harvesting for Zigbee solution. So yes, there will be energy harvesting with Zigbee. So if you know a little bit about Zigbee, it's there is this features called green power, where you can use typically energy harvesting solution. So it enables the use of this device that will communicate only when you press on it, if it's button of a sensor, which will not be able to receive any commands, but it will transmit the commands. So yes, it is available in Zigbee as well. There are less product now, but on our side, we are working on some products that which will be available in the next few months. So integrating the energy harvesting solution.
You are right, Alexis. As we said, you find also energy harvesting wireless solution, not only with the EnOcean protocol, but with Bluetooth and Zigbee. But I mentioned in my speech that commissioning is a key point, and the EnOcean protocol has sought the commissioning at the beginning, and it's very easy with remote commissioning and with universal solution, not dedicated to one player, one industrial. It's universal, and that's a major change and a major differentiation. Today, if you take a Zigbee switch, it's a little bit more complicated, and you need to, in most of the case, to use a gateway. It works, and it will work, but in some case, you need to have a peer-to-peer solution, very easy, without gateways, and that's why also I would say, all the solutions are good, but I would say EnOcean as protocol is also very interesting in this way. And now, as conclusion, I would like to highlight the necessity to have wireless. We know that wire has a carbon cost, and it becomes more and more pregnant, but batteries also. And I'd say now it's just almost forbidden to ask to deploy devices with batteries, and you just say to yourself, I don't care, and in 3 years I throw away these devices and I will buy another one. We need really to think to our planet, and we need to have sustainable solution which last not 3 years, but 10 to 20 to 30 years. And we all need to have this mind, and we all need to act in this direction. And that's a key message I want to give you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Yeah, we had a lot of questions, but we planned only 30 minutes, so we are at the end of the presentation. But if you have any further question, don't hesitate to ask us directly, and we will be happy to follow the discussion somewhere by mail or by message. So thank you, everyone, for the attendance, and hope to see you soon.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.